What's up guys, Chasing Lamey here with episode number 8 of our Haas F1 American Dream series on F1 Manager 23. We're going to Spain today, to Barcelona, which is a nice little treat for all of us. In fact, let's get rid of this background audio because I didn't realise I still had that turned on. I know that'll be annoying. Right, so we have a design completing tomorrow, which is nice. I don't know if we've got any building slots for it, but we have it coming in. At the very least, let's have a little look, just make sure we've got the building slots. We're only 2 days away anyway, so we'll find out. We won't, but that's okay. We don't need to have all the parts. We just need to get the best parts we can on the car, which obviously is a thing we're currently working on. Insufficient in the warehouse. Well, that's not ideal, is it? We have got none of those, and we're probably going to need them at some stage. So we'll hope we don't damage any chassis in this race, because we are going to have to emergency them if we do. We're missing. This car just got wrecked in the last race, just absolutely wrecked. But it's fine. We'll make the best of it because that's what we have to do, and get all our best parts on the car, because that is also a thing we have to do to be able to succeed. So that's the plan so far. We'll see how that goes. We'll get all that sorted out. I'm going to need new side pods at some stage in the near future. That's going to be a priority as well once we can do some building. So we've got all the new parts on car 2. I don't know what we need in car 1. I imagine there's probably something. The side pods, there we go. We are going to have to build some more side pods at some stage, because we actually do not have any more in the warehouse, and that could be a problem. Am I building side pods right now? Because if I'm not, I need to be. I'm not. And I need to. That's fine. We need them. We'll build them. That's fine. I don't know why that's got a yellowy thing there. Is it a powertrain thing? It is a powertrainy thing. That's okay. In fact, I'm going to make sure I've got the weakest of our engines in before we go into practice, because that's going to be quite important. We are going to have to take some penalties at some stage. It may be this race I decide to do it. I'll see where we end up on the grid before I make that call, because if we're going to make it anywhere, Barcelona is a pretty solid place to be doing it, purely because the overtaking here can be quite good. Better on the game, in fact, than in real life, I think. But that's personal opinion, so we'll go with that, and I'll focus on trying to get the damaged parts off, or the new powertrain parts into the car, because that's going to be important. What are we doing at ERS? That's the week 1, so we'll put that on. I think I am going to take new everything for Barcelona if I can, because it feels like a good time to take some penalties and get things going, because I think the next race after this is going to be a power circuit, if my memory doesn't fail me. It often does. Next race after this one is going to be Montreal, so it is going to be a power circuit, more so than Barcelona is. So we'll take, in fact, we could take the pain of not getting the place in Barcelona, and then we'll take the penalties in Montreal, because that is also a great overtaking circuit. So we could do that. That will work, and if failing that, we'll go to Spielberg and do it. Either way, it all works out. Let's move forward and get ourselves ready to get into the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions in the Grand Prix. This is the last episode. It went quite well. We got some points. Go check that out, because points are what make prizes, or whatever the thing says. Right, suspension design complete. Beautiful stuff. We'll definitely be doing some stuff on that. Our drivers have been developing in the last month. It looks like Pietro Fittipaldi has developed a little bit, and the smoothness of Mr. Magnussen has gone up, which is definitely a benefit. Nothing interesting in the news, I don't think. It looks like we're fine. We're still 5th in the constructors, and 9th and 10th in the drivers, so we're doing okay. Right, we're going to do a training schedule as well, apparently. My team are exhausted, apparently, so I think this is going to be a resty kind of month for them. Let's give them a fatigue reduction month. Get weary? Wowzers. Is there not just a complete rest function? I thought it was a complete rest function. There should be a complete rest function. I mean, that's the complete rest function. Just go custom. Don't train anything. It will make our pit stops a little bit slower, but I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think I'm just going to let them rest for this month, give them some time off. It'll be fine, because they won't get that much worse. They can't get that much worse. So we'll go with that. Let's go to the race weekend. That's going to be our next mission. And See if we get any money from the sponsor. We've got some good money from the sponsorship obligation. We like that. In fact, let's use that to get a new design going while we can, because that's going to be important as well. We can get so many more design things going if we want to, but I can't build them right now, so there's not a lot of point doing it. In fact, let's do a design on some new side pods, because we know we need them anyway. We will throw pretty much everything at it, I think, because our next ATR period, I think, is coming after all that ends, so we'll throw everything we've got left at it. That should work out nicely, and then we will try and get the most speed out of this we can. Let's go to the rank on grid, because that's always the most important thing to look at. Optimised race performance. That hits a lot of spots for us. Let's reduce the lifespan, see if we can get any more benefit out of that. We probably didn't, but that's okay. I think that's going to help us out quite a lot. So we're going to go with that. That's a good place to start. We'll go with a 4-engineer run, and I think we'll rush this one because we need the new part anyway. So may as well get it rushed, so it's ready to build and put on the car. That's my thinking. Right, anything left in the inbox for us? There isn't race prep for the Spanish Grand Prix, but we need to look at where we are projecting ourselves to finish for the Grand Prix. Let's do our car analysis, see where we actually are on the grid. It's a top speed and a medium speed track. I think we might actually be lucky to make it to Q2 in this one, so I'm not going to make promises I can't keep. We'll go qualifying position 12th. Okay, we'll go with that. I'm going to guarantee both cars in Q2. I think that's going to be my big election promise for this one. We'll get both cars in Q2, but I'm not going to promise anything in Q3. That doesn't feel like a good plan. Looking at our finishing position as well, I think we're going to say both cars in as lower positions as let us say, because I've just got a feeling something's going wrong here. So we'll play it conservative. We will take the 15th place, and then qualifying, once a position streak 14th or above, we're going to say that both cars and a hot streak target of 5. Why not? Let's go with that. That could work out nicely. What's our finishing position? 14th. Easy. Job done. Right, I'm going to go to the race weekend. I'll rejoin you after qualifying. So qualifying is in the books then, and it's been pretty good for us, considering I thought we'd struggle this weekend. We have Sergio Perez on pole, Max Verstappen in second, Charles Leclerc takes third, Carlos Sainz takes fourth. We've got Nico Hülkenberg qualifying in fifth, but he's got a 3-place grid penalty because him and Magnussen came together during practice. That was a fun time. Magnussen takes sixth, Gasly seventh, Stroll eighth, of course, when Hülkenberg will start. Ocon in ninth, Albon in 10th, then it's Hamilton, Fernando Alonso both out of position, Norris potentially out of position, George Russell out of position in qualifying, but then also with a grid penalty. We've got Nick De Vries, Logan Sargent, Yuki Tsunoda, and Zhou Guanyu, and Oscar Piastri bringing up the back. I'm not going to take any penalties this weekend because I feel that we're strong enough.
It's race day, and final preparations are underway.
Barcelona is a circuit with plenty of history under its belt. It was here, after all, that multiple world champion Max Verstappen secured his very first F1 victory back in 2016.
I'd love to know, Karun, your thoughts on Kevin Magnussen so far this weekend.
You know what, Crofty? They're performing well above what's been expected of them so far. All in all, not a bad place to be.
And there are going to be some tough calls to make in Catalunya today. So let's see who makes the best ones for the Spanish Grand Prix.
So we do have a threat of rain according to the weather chart for this race, so that will be a complicator for things. We'll see how that plays out in just a second. We look at the strategy screen because we do need to, if it will let me get there, we sort of go on. So there we go, confirmation. Hülkenberg starts in 8th place. I'm probably going to put him on a longer strategy depending on where the rain comes. So K-Mag leading for us, and it looks like we are going potentially into the rain period there. That's interesting because that probably makes that with a rainy end a better strategy. Let's shuffle that up so we can get our pit stops where we need them to be, because that's going to be key if we can do that, can we do a soft in that kind of stint? Let's set up the presumably inters. I'm going to assume it's going to be inters, but we'll play it by ear. Let's set those up so they go. Oh, didn't want to get rid of that. Did not want to get rid of that. That's gone well. You don't quite get the precision on a controller that you would get on a mouse. It's got to be said. Right, let's have a look. So if we're saying the rain starts around there-ish, it is possible we could go softs into the inter. We're not going to get softs. Okay, we'll go softs, mediums, and then we'll go on to the inters when we need to. That feels like a good plan there for Magnussen. I think if we're going to do something a little bit different to maybe help out Nico, then we're going to have to switch that around, I think. Will a single set of mediums, let's have a little bit of a curiosity play. Will a set of mediums get to the rain? Not quite, but that's a good starting point for us. I think Nico probably, he's not quite as smooth on his tyres, we've seen that. So I think we're going to go with a mediums and then softs, see what we can do to push a little bit. Because then if the rain comes early as well, he is in a good position. So we'll go with that. Mediums to softs. Say that's the crossover there. And then we'll add that stint on the end with the inters that we're expecting. It could be full wets, but I think it'll be inters. And actually, to be fair, it means that Nico might hold on through the early stage of the rain a little bit better because the soft tyres will still have some grip as the rain starts to fall. So we'll go with that for Nico. That feels like a good strategy. We can, of course, play around as we need to, but I think that will do the job for us. I think there's going to be some people trying to one-stop the hards into the wet period. I think that'll give us a little bit of an overtaking advantage. Fuel-wise, I'm going to take probably an extra couple of laps of fuel off the line. I am aware we're going to get some back too, because that's just how it works. We're going to go with the full deploy from the start. That's going to be the plan on both cars. 2 more laps of fuel, full deploy. We're not going to worry too much about tyres, although that said, I think Nico, we might do a push on the early part of the first stint, just to see if we can get him up past some cars, off the line, get him back with his teammate, and see how that goes. That feels like potentially a strategy that can get us some big points today. So, without any further ado, I'm going to hand you back to Grun and Crofty and get ready for the race.
The stage is set here in Barcelona as we get ready for 66 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix. And here's George Russell settling in for the race.
All the way back in 17, meaning there's not a lot of expectations on their shoulders.
And it looks like we're good to go. This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
So we're off for the Singapore Grand Prix, but not quite off. I'm watching the qualifying in the background. There we go, that's gone well. We're off for the Spanish Grand Prix, but I do need to do the quick setup of all of the overtaking aggression, because it still annoys me that I cannot do this from the pre-race menu. That's the kind of thing I would use if it was in there. You know, if anyone from Frontier Devs happens to be listening, that's a thing I would use. But let's get things started properly. We're away. We're going to go on board with Nico, because I feel like he's going to be the one making the big moves as we get things kicked off. Obviously, we are going to keep an eye on his tyre usage. We'll move that up on Kevin Magnussen as well. We need to also be telling them to use battle assist, because that is going to definitely get them up through the grid a little bit faster. Hulkenberg should be making a pass anytime soon. You would like to think he should be able to get himself up and past one of the cars ahead. I mean, to be fair, there's not much of a gap between the cars in the top 12, really. So, you know, it could go either way. We are in a battle now with Ocon, just to prove my point. Had a bit of a slow start, but of course we are a little bit heavier. We're on the worst tyres. I think everyone else has started on softs or hards. So you think we could get Stroll and Gasly once we're up to temp, but we'll see how that goes. We're just going to push for this first lap or two on the tyres, try and get just get them up to speed, get them up and ready, scrub them off a little bit, and then we can get going, settle into this long stint. As I said, I think we're going to find the cars up ahead of us are really just trying to defend and cling on to those tyres a little bit, so any overtakes need to get done now. We'll go and have a look at the interval so we can see what we're doing up ahead. It looks like Magnussen's struggling to hold on to Sainz on the hards, which is going to be a small issue for us in this race. I will say that without any doubt. We are being dropped a little bit. That's not ideal, but it is what it is, unfortunately. We are, I think, we're the only car on mediums. There's a couple of cars, Hamilton behind, Bottas also on mediums. But I think we are going to be really pushing in this one to get ourselves anything out of this race, to be honest, because it looks like the Ferraris and the Red Bulls are clear of us for sure. We are just trying to hold on for 5th, and fighting for 5th and 6th really is our goal. So we'll try and stay on the back of Ocon, Stroll and Gasly. Hopefully we can do that. I'd like to feel like we can. We should have the pace to do it. Given our performances in qualifying, you'd like to think we've got the pace to stay up there, but you know, also there are questions about the long-term performance we have during the race as well. That can be a problem. So, I don't know. I don't know with this one. It could go either way. We're not really making any inroads early on. I'm going to get ready to drop those tyres down to regular kind of pushing, because that's going to be a key factor for us in this as well. We'll wait till they start overheating and then we'll drop them down. DRS enabled. Are we within DRS with Hulkenberg? We should be for the next lap. Hopefully Magnussen is out of DRS, so we're going to be relying on Gasly to pass us to keep us in touch with the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. That's going to be a real issue for us here. I will say that for sure. We are still at least holding on to Ocon though, so that's small mercies, small benefits I suppose, of where we are on the grid. Well, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's going to be our strongest race weekend this weekend, I've got to be honest. Looking at how Hulkenberg is performing so far, maybe I should have started him on the softs and gambled as Magnussen drops out of DRS range now fully of Sainz. Just to make matters worse, we are not quite overheating these tyres yet, which is okay, that's fine. Getting into that window, we're not quite there yet. We are out of DRS, that's going to be unhelpful. We'll tell Magnussen to go neutral as well, even though he's not out yet. And Hulkenberg, I think we're going to start to look at cooling those tyres down at the end of this lap. That feels like a good plan. We're coming round to the end of the lap now. Of course, there's a fight up ahead between Stroll and Ocon. That will slow them down, help us maybe get back into DRS range if they can keep fighting. I don't think it will, you know. I sort of miss having that chicane there. That would have helped us out immensely. Okay, we're going to hold back a little bit. We're going to zoom things forward because I don't see anything major changing for a few laps. The yellow flag, multiple car crash. Okay, this could change things for us. Let's see what has happened there. Looks like Albon was in forward. I think it was behind us, right behind us potentially. We haven't been touched, have we? Looks like Albon's had a look up and he's caught Alonso. That's brought us some breathing room. Shouldn't bring out a safety car, you wouldn't think, but it's definitely brought us a little bit of breathing room, which will help for sure, as long as we don't get closed up. Albon having an absolute nightmare out there today, it has to be said. So, debris on the track, but we're not going to apparently get ourselves any safety car madness. I'm very aware you probably cannot hear the engine sounds in the background. I'm sorry, I've just tried to fix that, but it should be okay now. Okay, so Hulkenberg now with a gap between him and Hamilton. God, I imagine that gap will come down quite soon. Hulkenberg is not really in this race at all at this point. Hopefully he'll come back into it with some pit stops, but the strategy will shake out a little bit. Magnussen kind of in a world of his own because he's lost sight of the Ferraris. So this is kind of our battle now, our battle to hold on to 5th. We're just honestly just trying to stay in the points and hope we can time our rain pit stop perfectly. If we do, I think we'll be fine. We're going to kind of zoom forward because I think at this point we are just holding. Well, it looks like we're dropping Hamilton, which is nice, and we've got back in range of Stroll. In Sector 2, it looks like we're a little bit faster. That's interesting. Another yellow flag out on track. Doesn't look like it was for anything serious as Albon comes in for his pit stop. We're going to be not coming in for a while, so that's fine. Albon is going to be well clear at the back. Another yellow flag, another multiple car crash that we aren't involved in. Logan Sargent looks like has been involved in that. Let's see what has in fact happened. It is the other Williams of Sargent and Oscar Piastri having a coming together. Yeah, he's just not really left the room, has he? He's not left the room as Piastri was passing him. They've come together. I think probably that penalty was deserved. And probably the first deserved penalty I've seen on the game, if I'm honest. So, you know, that will be what that will be. It's not bringing out any kind of safety car, so that's fine. Looks like we've got Alonso well back in this race. I think he'll struggle to come back into it. Sargent hasn't quite, with that accident, put himself out of the running yet, so that's okay. We do need Hulkenberg to really kind of push his way forward, though. That's really a concern for me right now, because he's not doing a lot to get himself back into DRS range. Let's give him that deployment back, because I feel like making the best of that is really the key here. A, to making sure Hamilton stays behind us, but also to making sure we can get back up into the DRS with Stroll. So we'll keep an eye on that, push where we can, and that should be the end of our DRS. Our ERS usage is what I'm trying to say. There we go. But Hulkenberg has at least caught up a little bit and dropped Hamilton. Maybe we'll get him to 3 seconds behind us. Would do us nicely. Magnussen doing well to hold on. He has gapped Ocon, so he's very much in a world of his own in 5th now. I'm just kind of plodding along a little bit. Hulkenberg has pushed himself back up. Has he got himself into DRS range? Will he keep himself in DRS range? If he can get himself into DRS range for this first DRS zone, I think he'll be in a good place. Let's push his tyres a little bit just to try and close that gap up a little bit if we can, because as I said, if we can get ourselves into DRS range of Stroll, he's a sitting duck right now, we'll be looking okay. He's not got DRS. If we can get DRS off him coming across the line, I'd be quite happy. I don't think we will. We're a little bit outside, but we are closing. We're closing ready for the start-finish straight, which is where we're going to need to be closing, and then hopefully that'll slingshot us onto the back of Gasly. We'll see how that goes, and hope for the best. Let's jump on board with Hulkenberg as he goes for potentially the overtake here. Let's give him the deploy as well, just so we can use it. Yellow flag out in Sector 3. That's not going to help us at all, because we won't be able to overtake. That's not going to be the one for us. Is it going to let us overtake? Spin on turn 11, we are fine. Yellow flag is in, and we are back to regular racing. We can go neutral now. Let's go back to deploying, because we haven't quite cleared Stroll as quickly as I thought we would. We are going to get past him though, and hopefully we'll get a good gap on him. There we go. We'll go back to the neutral now, because we don't need to be pushing as hard. And we'll try and bring these tyres back into range as well, because that's going to be key. Although we are now catching up to Gasly and Ocon too, so maybe we keep pushing a little bit just to see if we can get ourselves. Now there's the crossover period in the tyres. We might be able to do something with this. Gasly, of course, won't have his tyres going off quite yet, but Ocon will. And he will come into the pit. So if we can DRS Gasly here, we can. Hulkenberg is finally getting a shake on, and he finds himself up behind Ocon. If he can find himself up behind Ocon, he can pass Ocon on the next straight. We should be able to gap Ocon. We should have the speed for that. We've seen it with Magnussen that we have the speed to make that gap happen, and we should be in a nice position once we come in for a pit stop at that point, because the cars behind us will all have pit when we come in. They will be, of course, on slightly faster tyres, but we're going to go for this overtake now, up into P6, where we should have been all along. And there we go. We're through. We're clear. We are going to make the use of going back to neutral so we can save some anything. Quite frankly, we are, there we go, we're free, we're clear, and hopefully we can start pulling away from Hulkenberg, from Ocon. We're going to drop the tyres back down to standard, save them a little bit. We probably could have used a little bit more fuel, if I'm honest, but That's absolutely fine, because I feel like what we've done is bridge the gap now for the crossover into the rainy period. Tsunoda and Sargent are in the pits, ready for their tyre change. Magnussen is probably a lap away from making that change. I would think, where are we on strategy? We are coming in on lap something. We're coming in on lap... Where have we said what lap? I wish there was an easier way than going through many menus to see what was the lap 18. We're currently on lap 15. That has been a little bit more tyre burn than we thought we would. Lap 16 even we're on. Let's bring Magnussen in now, because that feels like it's a good plan. We have got the tyres to be able to do that, so that's okay. So we'll box Magnussen. We'll make room for Hulkenberg to come through. Hulkenberg was actually catching him anyway, so that's probably worked out well. We've kind of cleared some air for Hulkenberg. Now Ocon is in as well, so Hulkenberg and Gasly is the battle we are looking at, and Hulkenberg has cleared Gasly. Are we going to come out ahead of Leclerc and Perez? We are. Beautiful stuff. Okay, we're in P3. It's not going to be a net P3, of course. What tyres are they coming out on, though? That's the big question. If they come out on hards, we're laughing. Perez is out on softs. Leclerc is coming out on mediums. Okay, we are doing well. Magnussen's had a pit stop problem that's brought him out behind Ocon. That's not ideal. Let's have a look at what happened there, because usually, of course, I jump on board for the pit stops. So we came into the pits and the tyre didn't go on. Is that what happened? The car's not been released properly. Excellent, good stuff. I give them a rest, and that's what happens. That's life for us at Haas right now. Unfortunately, we've come out behind Bottas with Magnussen. He's got all the work to do now in this second stint, but I don't feel like I lack confidence in him to do it, so that's okay. We'll be fine with this. Let's give him the deployment so he can get at least past Bottas, because we do need to get onto the back of Gasly again. Sorry, Ocon again. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. And we're the only medium runner now in the top 5. So we're going to see if hards were the better strategy the hard way, with no pun intended. But let's keep going forward, shall we? Let's just zoom it forward, because we are going to get Stroll onto us quickly. Magnussen has somehow failed to pass Valtteri Bottas. Despite me giving him all the assistance in the world, he has failed to get past Valtteri Bottas. Russell and De Vries now into the pits. So we're doing okay. Hulkenberg shouldn't be far off making his stop. We'll, of course, extend his stint if we can to get the best out of it, because we aren't any clear on when that rain's coming. Well, we are clear on when that rain's coming, and that rain is coming very, very much sooner than we thought it would. So we're going to have a little play with the strategy now of Hulkenberg, because it is possible that softs was the way to go. Let's see where that comes in terms of if we pit him now and then we go to the rain period there. It's risky. I'm going to give him maybe, that 1 or 2 more laps. And then we should be able to push the soft stint. Beautiful. Okay, that will help Hulkenberg. Let's actually save that strategy. That's going to be what we do now. Make the change. Make the change that we need to see in the world to get this going. Hulkenberg pit window, therefore, is now open. We can push, that means, with Hulkenberg, which will help us out, because he's not going to burn those tyres out in time. In fact, we can probably even push full attack for these last couple of laps on this stint. Just to go for it, why not? Let's see what we can get in terms of closing down the gap to the cars ahead of us. We're 10 seconds behind right now. We are staying ahead of Perez, which is also good for now, as long as we can maintain staying ahead, which we can't because he's got the apex for that corner on his soft tyres. So it's Stroll really is the battle. We're trying to keep ourselves ahead of Lance Stroll, and we're trying to get him back involved. Someone's had a yellow flag situation happen. I don't think it was a multiple car pile-up because no one dropped down the order or a penalty. Also, show Guan Yu running wide just Show Guan Yu doing Show Guan Yu things is what has just happened. And Hulkenberg staying though with Perez for now. That's good. That will help him stay ahead of Stroll, which is what we're trying to achieve. Obviously, we're not going to build a pit stop gap to Stroll, but we should come out just ahead of Lando Norris, which will be fine. Has Hamilton pitted yet? He hasn't. Neither has Leclerc, it looks like. Oh, Leclerc has pitted. So Hamilton hasn't pitted yet. Get nice and early on these soft tyres for Hulkenberg. On second thoughts, I'm not actually going to push the soft for Hulkenberg until we have a clear idea of when that rain is coming, because we know we don't have the best weather forecasting in the world. So let's not gamble more than we need to. We're just trying to get a good couple of in laps, and that will help us out as Perez sets a fastest lap. This is our optimal pit stop lap, apparently. I'm going to play this by ear, actually. Thanks, Gary. Just because I'm not sure. That rain period seems to keep moving up as well, which is a thing. But we'll see how that goes. We'll push as we need to, and we'll try and get the strategy done that we need to do. Hamilton has come in, so actually I think we're going to cover that off, because that's wise, because otherwise he's going to get way too much speed on us. So we're going to come in now for our set of softs and hopefully get a good little run going. We're going to be going on a 3-star aggressive kind of momentum. I'm not going to worry about reducing fuel because that rain's coming. We will claim that back in the rain. Driving on neutral will claim that back very quickly. So I'm not panicking on the fuel. It was a deliberate plan that we would end up in the negatives. At this stage of the race, be a little bit lighter than the cars behind us. Stroll's been overtaken by Leclerc, which is good for us because he'll get held up. Leclerc is going to have DRS on us on this straight and, of course, the main straight. Or he's going to get it off us on the main straight, of course, but he's not actually going to be passing us because we'll be in the pits. So that's absolutely fine. We're doing well. Our race at the moment is really for 7th and above. 6th and 7th is kind of where we're looking at right now. As we come into the pit lane, let's see what happens with Nico. Hopefully, we get a really, really good stop off of this one. That'd be really nice for us. Magnussen has jumped Hamilton as well. That's nice. And he's finally overtaken Bottas, which is even better. But he is a little way behind Ocon. He should catch him up, but we'll see how that goes as we come into the box. And we've had a pit stop delay again. What's wrong with our boys? Come on, lads. You're supposed to have rested, and you've balked another pit stop. It makes me really not want to have to make the wet pit stop, to be honest, because I feel like they're just going to screw it up again. Absolutely atrocious time in the pits for the Haas boys, and now we're in the points, but we're not in the points where we wanted to be. Let's drop that down to a standard because I don't trust the rain radar just yet. We don't need to get the tyres fully up to speed immediately, so that'll be fine. We are just going to hold on for the best now and see how this goes. Holding on to the ERS feels a bit wasteful, but I am doing it on purpose, so because that will be our best chance of making overtakes in the rain period. We're going to keep ourselves going forward until we get to that rain now. Hulkenberg should catch and pass his teammate fairly quickly, you'd like to think. Yellow flag is out again, probably for Guan Yu Zhou. It's always for Guan Yu Zhou. It's a yellow in 22. Where's 22? Who knows? Okay, Piastri had the lock-up this time. Good times. That will at least give Alonso a sight of a driver, maybe. Which, you know, he's not had all race. We're going to try and keep our guys together. I feel like we're going to tell Magnussen to let Hulkenberg pass, because there really is no need for them to be fighting at this stage. Just let him go. Let him go, and that'll be fine. Good stuff. Well played. Just because that will help us out long term. That will help us out for sure, because it means that Hulkenberg can push on to the back of Ocon on his spare tyres, and we'll be laughing, hopefully, come the end. Right, Magnussen, where are you in terms of the crossover with the rain? I need to work out where he is in terms of the rain coming in. I think we can probably afford to tell Magnussen to burn his tyres a little bit, because the rain is on its way. We may as well take advantage. I could have gone soft with Magnussen. It's becoming very apparent. My initial instinct to go softs was actually probably a bit smart. If we'd had the better weather reporting that we need to get involved, I feel like we probably would have known that already and just gone softs, inters, which would have been a real advantage for us. Got to be something we need to invest in for sure down the line. Is better weather knowledge ahead of the race. So Magnussen now trying to chase down Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg chasing down Lando Norris. Who's on what tyres is the big question. Norris is on hards, Ocon is on mediums, Gasly on hards, still Stroll on hards. They are going to make it to the rain period and do this in a one-stop, which again is an option I could have looked at had I had better weather reporting, but I didn't, so that is where we've ended up, just hoping for the best out of this strategy now. We're going to try and get something out of this now, as Norris has got into a battle with Hulkenberg, or Hulkenberg's got into a battle with Norris, and he passes him nice and cleanly. Job is done, and we're up into 8th. Happy days. We'll have a look at that when it shows us the replay, hopefully. There we go. Have a look at that. I think it must have been DRS down the main straight from where we jumped on board. It is DRS down the main straight. We squeezed by. We've got it done. And we have made our way past Lando. Hopefully he'll be followed through by Kevin, and we can continue to make some good progress. That's the hope at the very least. His tyres are going to get hot, but Kevin Magnussen needs to get past ASAP, really. Let's not deploy. We are going to get DRS. We'll get it done under DRS before the rain falls for sure. And hopefully we'll be okay. Overtake failed. I'm a lot faster than you. It's driving mad every time I say that you're not faster. If you can't overtake, are you, Kev? You're not doing it. Right, rear wing open. There we go. We are going to leave Norris for dust, hopefully, through this corner. We should have better traction going to go around the outside into this inside corner. Should be done, and it is done. There we go. Magnussen through, and we are free and clear to keep chasing down our teammate, who in turn should keep chasing down Ocon, and we will speed through again, because that is part of the job done. Admittedly, Hamilton's also going to be trying to chase us through. Hulkenberg now in battle with Ocon, and we've got rain on the track. Do we want to be the first ones in? We're not going to be the first ones in, because Piastri will be the first one in. I feel like we're going to keep an eye on this lap rain-wise, see how it goes. We are going to tell Hulkenberg now to push his tyres just because he can. And hopefully we've got what it takes here to get ourselves up and past Ocon where we need to. Let's use the deployment now, because that's going to be a really good time to use it as we try and work out when we're coming in. It could be a last mistake. It's not raining super hard just yet. Certainly on softs we'll have an advantage over on harder tyres, but it is going to be about keeping them in that temp window for now. People who come in at the right time will get the right advantages here, but we're okay now. We're going for the overtake up into 7th. There we go. It's been a good hunting round for us in this race. Magnussen hopefully will make the same move coming down the main straight. Let's see what we're still not anywhere near needing to come in for the wet tyres just yet, so we'll be okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to keep pushing up on Gasly. Has Piastri actually come in for inters? He didn't. He came in for softs, which tells me what I need to know. Track details. We're not going to get heavy rain for a little while, and then it is going to be an inters period, so hopefully this pushing isn't in vain. I think it's going to be actually alright. I think we're going to be in a good position once we start, or once we get onto the inters, we'll be in a really solid position. But for now, we can just keep pushing. We're going to tell Hulkenberg to, again, conserve his ERS, because I feel like we should have the advantage on Gasly. Gasly's not been in for any tyres yet. He is clinging on to a set of hards that we should be able to catch him on. Would definitely be my thinking, and then we should even be able to get up and past Stroll, as Magnussen's picked up a penalty for something happening in an overtake. Great stuff, Kevin. Well done. I don't know what happened there, but great stuff. Let's see what's happened there and what damage it's caused to us. So we have gone around, or tried to go around the outside here of Ocon, and he's just pinched us at the apex. He's just tapped. It's pretty much the same accident our drivers had in P3. That's not the one. That's not the one. Somehow we've picked up the penalty for that. I'm not quite sure how, but such is life, we have been penalised as always, and we've got a penalty of 5 seconds. Not doing any damage to the car though, thankfully, which is good. But we do need Kevin to just force his way through now, and then push away from and stay ahead of Ocon would be ideal. I am just thinking those tyres are probably a little bit too hot at this stage to stay ahead of Ocon long term. We'll probably, that's fine, because we are going to come onto wets within a couple of laps, so I'm not going to worry. Let's just burn through the tyres and make the best of them. Although actually, to be fair, maybe we're losing some grip. Let's cool the tyres down just to be on the safe side. We'll cool the tyres off so we don't completely lose our minds. Hulkenberg has got up to the back of the other Alpine car of Gasly now, which is nice, and he's got the ability to deploy, which is even better, because that should help push us through, and even possibly straight onto the back of Stroll, which would be even better for us. So we're going to come through the DRS zone. Hopefully we can make the overtake happen in this DRS zone. We are, of course, going to have to suffer the penalty for Magnussen as well, coming through the pit lane when we go onto the Inter. So we need to get that gap good and clear so we can let the mistake happen, because it's probably going to be a double stack as well. There we go, we're through, clear, and on to the back of Lance Stroll. We've used all of our ERS doing it, but that's fine, because Gasly is dead in the water at this point. Stroll also just clinging on for dear life. We're probably actually gapping or closing up to Carlos Sainz as well. We won't catch him before we have to come in for wet tyres, but we are probably catching up to Carlos Sainz, which is very nice as well. I'm going to have to start conserving fuel a little bit, because I don't think we can make that up. Can we make that up in half a race in wet conditions? Probably. In fact, let's go to the half. Let's risk it. Let's go to the halfway mark and see how it looks. We're on the back of Stroll now, looking to get that pass done. Magnussen trying to push onto the back of Gasly as well. He should get there as we go on the outside of Lance Stroll, ready to leave him behind, hopefully. Come on, Kev, Nico. There we go. You're through. You're through, and hopefully staying through. It looks like we're staying through, and we're going to be fine. Excellent stuff around the outside, and we have chance to see how we're doing gapping up Carlos Sainz now, who is definitely clinging on to dead tyres, clinging onto that dead rubber very much, it has to be said. We are going to drop down to standard just to hold on to these tyres a little bit. Yellow flag up ahead somewhere, don't know who for. Kevin Magnussen's had a spin. Absolute clown show from Kevin Magnussen. His confidence has absolutely been battered. That's not the one, Kev. That's not what we were looking for. We're optimal on our pit strategy apparently, so that's going to be fine. But in fact, we need to get Kevin pushing. Let's not go yet. Don't worry, Gary. I know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep things neutral as best I can. Kevin Magnussen, we've got to push his tyres, so we've got to keep pushing his tyres, because his race otherwise is over. Because he's in trouble now. He will fall behind Lando Norris at the pit stop and have to fight his way back up into points. Hulkenberg on his way to a really good finish, it's got to be said. That's going to help us out a lot. We are still trying to close the gap to Sainz. We've got a lapped car ahead of us of Alonso, it feels like, is at the car ahead of us. So hopefully he will let us go through. The rain is about to intensify to the point where, in fact, this may be the optimal pit stop lap, because all the cars ahead of us have got through, and I think by the time we come out, that rain will be down. Let's go with it. Let's try that out. We're going to go into the end. In fact, we're going to do it with both drivers, because there is now definitely enough of a gap between them to make that work. I've just got a feeling that coming in now might be the answer to a lot of our problems, because we should get the jump on that heavier rain period, and then hopefully we'll be looking really, really good. Whichever way, probably here I've picked up a slight cold, I think, at some stage. So apologies if you hear me sniffling. I cannot help it. These episodes require me to talk for an hour, so I can't, pause and things whilst I am doing it like I can do when I'm doing the FM stuff. Right, we're into the box, both into the lane. We should be clear of each other. Hopefully it's about a 12-second gap between them, so as long as no one screws up Hulkenberg's pit stop, we are going to be fine. We're in and away. It's a good pit stop. Let's have a look how Magnussen's goes. He's obviously got to eat that penalty as well. And Norris caught up to him, so he's going to come up behind, serve the penalty, get that off the books. Norris will pass us, so will Russell, because they're already in the pit lane. We're in, we're out, we're away. It's a decent stop, all things considered, and hopefully our drivers can carry on their merry way. Is everyone else coming on Inters, or are they going to try and hold on anything but Inters? It looks like the cars that were ahead of us have come in, but just one lap on Inters more than those guys could really pay dividends. So we're going to be okay. Right, Magnussen, you need to drop down and conserve these tyres. For the love of Christ, conserve your tyres. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. Right, we can kind of see this through now. We are a long way behind Hamilton and Ocon, but they are going to have to stop, and it's going to get wet before they get in the box. So hopefully this is going to close the gap to those cars ahead. We should come out ahead of Carlos Sainz with just behind Carlos Sainz with Hulkenberg in that P5. As long as no one has an insanely quick pit stop. Is everyone else coming on Inters now? They are. Perez is staying out, and that probably might have been a smart move considering where the rain has fallen. But that's okay. We're fine with that. We are just waiting to see where these things shake out. It looks like we've got out ahead of one of the Alpines. Are we going to get out ahead of any of the cars that were ahead of us? It looks like we're probably not, unless we're very, very lucky going to find our way past Ocon or Hamilton, although we might get them coming out the pit lane. Who knows? Maybe this has paid off. We're certainly going to be closer than we were, but they've made it out of the pit lane just ahead of us. That's absolutely fine. We're still in the points, and we're still ahead of Norris. Was that Piastri that came in with us? It was Piastri that came in with us. Okay, good stuff. Right, we are still in P5. We have bridged the gap a little bit to Carlos Sainz, which is absolutely fine with Hulkenberg. But again, we're kind of in no man's land, so we're going to let the clock roll forward, see how this shakes out. It looks like Magnussen is going to get dropped a little bit by Ocon. Maybe our car not quite as good in the wet as the Alpine, although it looks like he's finally getting into a bit of a groove. So maybe he'll start catching up to Ocon, and we are making that fuel back as I predicted as well, which is really, really nice to see. We're doing okay, just holding on for all the points we can get. We are losing time to Carlos Sainz now. We haven't got a tyre advantage, but we're not losing a lot of time to Stroll, which is really the key to this in terms of holding on. It is just a damp track. It's not, it looks like going to get out to being a fully wet track, so that will help us out a little bit as well. We just need to hold on to these Inters, and we should be able to hold on to 5th. If we get a safety car, I might come in for a cheeky pit stop with Magnussen to get a fresh set of Inters, because that gap to Norris is starting to look promising. Certainly we're looking secure inside the top 10. It looks like Norris is about to get lapped by... let's drop this down so I can see what's going on. It looks like Norris is about to get lapped by Verstappen as well, so is Russell, so that's a thing for us to be conscious of. We don't want to get lapped if we can avoid it. Hulkenberg doing his thing, leading the trolley train, apparently, is what he's decided to do. We have clawed back that fuel. I could have gone a little bit longer pushing on the fuel, it looks like, but that's okay, that's fine. We don't need to worry too much. We'll be absolutely golden for this period, and we'll keep ourselves going, because that will give us the fuel to fight back with Hulkenberg as well once Stroll gets there. That will help us out. So we're all good. We are not going to have to worry massively, I don't think, about Lance Stroll anyway, because we should be able to keep him behind us. The yellow flag out there somewhere for something. 15 laps to go. Magnussen has found himself onto the back of Ocon. Beautiful. Let's jump on board, shall we? See what's going on with our drivers. Stroll is being held up. We have got Magnussen up behind Ocon. I am going to do a bit of a fuel save, just do some top up on the ERS even. That will help us out, ready to make the attack when the time is right, because we should be able to get Magnussen and Ocon and Gasly at the same time. You would like to think that would be a thing we could pull off. Our tyres are somehow overheated. I'm not sure how, maybe that's just running in dirty air. I'm not entirely certain. But those Alpines are sticking close together, which is probably a smart move on their part, because that will make it much, much harder to get past them unless we unleash the deploy on the back straight, which is probably what I'm going to try and do. Unleash the deploy on the back straight. Once we can get up close enough to them, they're going to go and have a little fight with each other. Good stuff. Slow each other down. That's what we like to see. We'll keep our watching brief for now, because you guys are just going to hold each other up. You're not holding us up, so that's absolutely fine. Let's try and bring Kevin back into the fight, and then we'll go deploy now, and hopefully this will give us a little bit of a kick to get ourselves at least up into that battle. If not perhaps fully involved, it will keep us involved enough to see what's happening with it. Gasly and Ocon are going to keep fighting for a while, it looks like, anyway, so that'll be fine. Hulkenberg full 40 seconds behind Carlos Sainz. The top two teams have absolutely done us in this race. It's got to be said, it's also notable that Hamilton not pulling up any trees in what should be the third best car on the grid right now. So that's also a factor worth our consideration. We've done a really good job there to be essentially the third best team on the day. Well, arguably the third best team on the day will be Alpine unless we can pass them, so we've got to be conscious of that. Let's try and get ourselves back up closer, Kevin, if we can. That's going to be ideal. Hulkenberg doesn't need to push just yet to stay ahead of Stroll, which is nice, so we can sort of relax a little bit. It would be nice to get enough of a safety car period in so we can change our inters over. Looks like there might even be a possibility of switching on to dries at the end for some bonuses. That would do us nicely if we can get there. So we'll see how that goes. Magnussen is very much in range now and able to see the cars ahead. Some lapped cars, it looks like, as well, are going to get involved, cause some chaos for us. Don't want to be the first to hit the lapped cars, but I do want to be the first of this group of three, so we're going to have to eat that pain if that's what it's going to come down to. It could help us get past, though. I'm not quite sure who that is. That's when you show in there, Albon and Bottas, maybe? Considering we were battling Bottas at one stage, the fact that we may be about to put an entire lap on him is a little bit concerning. But we'll see as we come through, of course, what is happening up ahead. In fact, I can just click there and we'll see what's happening up ahead. Looks like it is Zhou and Albon. It's just Zhou and Albon, I think. Okay, good stuff. Bottas is well clear. So, yeah, Zhou and Albon are the lapped cars we are about to go past. Why is Zhou trying to put up a fight, you absolute clown? We've got past Gasly. Let's have a look, see how that happened. I think probably Guan Yu Zhou helped us out a little bit with that. We'll have a little look. We took up the inside of turn 6, apparently, to get onto the back of his teammate, pushed our way through, and then Guan Yu Zhou got involved. That's why when we jumped on board, we thought he was in our way. It was because we made an inopportune pass. Didn't really help us out. If Zhou hadn't been there, we'd have got both of them, but, you know, needs must, and we're going to carry on. We're going to drop down to neutral as we overtake Ocon as well, hopefully. Looks like this could be a battle. We complete the move on very soon, hopefully. We've had to back out a little bit, but that's fine. We'll keep trying because we need that clear air to cool the tyres down as well. Stop saying you're faster than guys before you overtake them, Kevin. That doesn't help. Right, Hulkenberg is doing very, very well. Stroll isn't even closing up with us at all, so we can kind of leave him to do his little thing now, which is fine. We might have been able to push for a fastest lap if we get any dry running towards the end. We may be able to turn everything up, get us our softs on, and yeah, just keep ourselves pushing for the end. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how things look with the gapping and whatnot and the lap times. Meanwhile, Magnussen's very much stuck behind Ocon on hot tyres. I think probably need time to cool his tyres off, although he is about to get stuck again. But Alex Albon not helping us out at all there. Come on, Alex, get out of the way. We need to chase down Ocon, and you've definitely stopped that from happening. You could have blocked him, not us. That would have been preferable, but you didn't do that. So here we are, back to fighting in warm air behind Ocon. Come on, let's just get past him. Once we get past him, we can cool our tyres off. That will help us out. You've got to get past him. I mean, I am tempted just to say push past him now and see if we can cool our tyres immediately afterwards, but I don't feel like that's the way to go here. I think we have to get this pass done and then hope for the best, because we're not looking great right now, it's got to be said. And come on, push, Kevin. 10 laps to go, push, and then we'll be fine. That's all I'm saying. In fact, let's maybe try and hold on to these tyres a touch. Hulkenberg, where are you coming in on these tyres? You're probably coming in a little bit heavy, so we're going to hold off a little bit there. We'll use the extra fuel to keep you ahead of Lance Stroll. I think that's going to be everything we need it to be. So let's see how that all looks in a second, shall we? Hopefully it will all be just fine for us. But yeah, I'm just sort of feeling like this pass that should have been inevitable isn't actually coming for us, and that by holding off on our tyres we're not actually helping ourselves, because we seem to be getting dropped a touch. I mean, I'm hoping we'll cool them off and be able to go back to trying to chase him down, but that's not looking promising right now. I can't really even use any deployment mode, so we're just having to hope we can find Kevin some sudden inspiration to get himself up, away and past him. We're not really cooling our tyres rapidly, or as rapidly as you'd like to think we should be, because we're still too close. So hopefully this is going to be where the pass comes in. Come on, Kevin, just late on the brakes. That's all I'm asking of you, really. It's just come in late on the brakes and we'll be absolutely laughing. As I said, it would be nice to get a safety car so we can get a nice, secure, fresh set of tyres for Kevin either way, because I think then he would absolutely obliterate Gasly off the line. But, you know, we can't take any risks at this stage with uncertainty like that ahead of us. We are bringing our tyres back into 10 range. That should help us out a little bit, because Ocon, you've got to think, has to be pushing a little bit on his tyres. He's not actually, he's saving them. Good stuff. Okay, that explains why we were catching him so quickly. And Hamilton now is coming back at us as well, which is going to be interesting. So 8th is the best Magnussen can hope for, and he's not really doing much in the way of getting there right now. We are just hoping for the dry weather to dry the track up. It looks like we have got some coming in a few minutes' time. I don't think it's going to dry the track up enough to get onto dry tyres. There's been a yellow flag out there somewhere. I don't think it's for anything involving us, or indeed that would help us out. Nick De Vries has had a lock up. That's not going to help us out. He's almost a lap behind us, so not really the one. That's probably, if anything, hindered us a touch, because we're about to lap Bottas with Hulkenberg. And yeah, we're at least on the lead lap. That's fine. Both our cars should be on the lead lap. We are the lead of, or the last car on the lead lap. So Magnussen may have his wings full of Perez very soon. His wing mirrors full of Perez very soon, if we don't get this overtake done. So we're going to go back to standard on the tyres, because we have to get this overtake done. We are going to do the deployment as well, because I don't want to have to make way for Perez. I don't want to have to do that, so you're going to have to push, otherwise we're in trouble. If we have to make way for Perez, we'll be in real trouble. So we're actually doing that right now. That's not helped us at all, race pace wise. Okay, good stuff. Right, let's hope we can stay with him to get onto the back of Ocon then. That's going to be our next plan. Let's use him to help us conserve the ERS again, so we don't have to worry so much. I'm hoping that he'll catch Ocon in a really awkward part of the circuit, but I have a feeling he's probably not going to, because he's going to catch him on the start-finish straight, and that's not going to help us at all, quite frankly. So we're just topping up the battery for potentially another run at him towards the end. That will be what we have to do. It's not what we want to do, but it's what we have to do. Hulkenberg doing very well, by the way, still staying ahead of Lance Stroll. We probably are okay on tyres once. So it's just this lap traffic's not helping us, or this traffic lapping us isn't helping us, because that is adding to our tyre temp issues, which we don't want it to do. So that's not really the one. Right, let's try to go back up to a neutral, and hopefully that will help us all out. Let's watch the fight develop. Let these lap cars go past us. It looks like it's stopped raining, so that is a benefit for sure. Looks like we're safe through, although we're now back on the back of Magnussen. So we are going to get that overheating issue again. I don't know who's behind us. It looks like we've got a little bit of a gap before Charles Leclerc gets to us. So let's get this overtake done as quickly as we can. We're going to deploy and try and push our way past past Ocon. And then hopefully we'll all be looking good. He's being held up a little bit by Verstappen, it looks like, which is potentially the most interesting phrase I've said today. Esteban Ocon, having been lapped, is now being held up by Verstappen. Right, let's go past him on this straight, bud. Let's really push for it. We've got what it takes. If we can get up the inside, get the deployment going, we should be fine. Come on, buddy. Oh, you had to hit your nose in front there. And we're not going to be able to push past him now. I think that was our last chance to really make any inroads, because we're going to have to drop down to saving some fuel again very soon. And in fact, we're not. We've been lapped. We can use a little bit more fuel than we would have done, so that's actually okay. Hopefully we'll take advantage of that. Let's see how that goes. Very much hoping it will work out for us. It's not going to be down the main straight, apparently, because the Alpine might have the best of us in a straight line. It's good. In fact, most cars on the grid have got the best of us in a straight line. We're going to have to do it in the corners somewhere. I am going to have to cool these tyres off because they are not making it to the end. Where are we looking at with Ocon's tyres? He's not in much better shape than us. It's got to be said. I think Magnussen's probably settling in now for a 9th place finish, but barring a miracle, I think he's probably looking at a 9th place finish. Hulkenberg's still on the lead lap though, so that's good, and he has got Stroll now up his gearbox, so that's not ideal. Can't really do much to push, so we're just going to have to hope that the extra fuel we're burning is enough to keep Stroll behind us. If it's not, we'll chase him down and do what we have to do. How's Stroll doing on tyres? They're going to die shortly anyway, so I feel like we will get the better of the tyre battle overall, because Stroll, I think, is pushing them to try and get past us, which doesn't feel like a terribly smart move, because they are at the cliff edge, and that's not where you want them to be. So we've got 3 laps to go. We are just about going to coast it in, I think. We are going to settle for 9th. We are not going to have any choice with Kevin Magnussen, so he is, barring a calamity for Ocon, pretty much booked in there. We are looking like we're slightly better under braking than Ocon. It's just a couple of high-speed sectors, all it takes for him to build a gap on us. But then, confusingly, Gasly isn't really catching us, so that's an odd one. Hulkenberg, though, meanwhile, is in this battle with Lance Stroll. Let's go off-board, watch it on the off-board for us. We are about to lap someone. I don't know who that would be. Probably Alonso, is it? It's De Vries. De Vries and Tsunoda are the next cars up the road for Hulkenberg to lap, which I think says it all about the gap in performance between the top 2 teams and us, to be honest. We're about to try and lap 14th and 13th, and they have lapped all the way up to 9th and probably 8th by now. I think they're probably lapped up to 8th by now. They are, and they'll probably catch Hamilton very shortly too. So that really does show the gulf between the top 2 teams and everyone else in Formula 1 right now. Magnussen's still not doing much in the way of catching. Is it possible we're faster in a straight line? Because that looks like that's where we're catching up. Let's go on board. Let's just see where we come in at the end of this corner. Is it we're better under braking? Is it we're better on straight line speed? That's what I'm really curious about. Looks like neither is the answer. We don't have an advantage anywhere unless we turn the engine up. Okay, good stuff. Right, Hulkenberg back on board now. I am aware that we can push a little bit, so we will, because why not? Try and save what we can. Keep hold of these tyres, perhaps a bit more too, because Strolls must have gone off the cliff edge by now. They have. So we're just going to try and hold on to everything by now. Keep Stroll behind us. Hopefully this is all going to work out strategy-wise. Gasly is long behind us too with Magnussen, so that's fine. We can do a little bit more pushing on the fuel. That should help us out. In fact, we can probably push to the end because we are lapped, as I said. So we will be fine. In fact, it's not really a guarantee with the pit stops that we can. De Vries is coming for a set of dries, I would imagine, which is a mood. No one else is going to come in for a set of dries. If they do, we're going to get some free places. So we're going to tough this one out to the end. I mean, the track's not dry, so we should be fine on these tyres. Let's probably save what we can on them, because that's going to be a key issue. It looks like we're doing about the same as Gasly on the tyres, so we'll just drop back a touch. Try and keep them cooled down, because there's really no gains to be made from burning down to the rims. Hopefully we won't get into puncture territory, but we're going to be very close to it by the time this race ends, purely because of everything else going on around us. We've built that gap up to Stroll again. That's a good time. We are fine to go through to the end of the race now. We should be just about to come up. In fact, let's just wait till it gives us the last lap flag. There we go. Last lap flag. We are going to go on board with Hulkenberg, because, oh my God, Lance Stroll came in. What a clown. Lance Stroll came in, presumably looking for a fastest lap, and just handed away all his points. What on earth is he thinking? Like, he might catch Gasly on a set of softs, but he's not going to get a fastest lap because he won't get his tyres up to temp. Wow, what a decision by Lance Stroll. He is going to be coming in hot, but he's not going to catch Magnussen, who he's just handed 3 points to. He's just handed points probably to us as well, for sure. He's handed points to Hamilton and Ocon. Absolutely stupid decision making by the team down at Aston Martin. It's got to be said, that is some of the worst decision making potentially in the history of F1. I'm going to save the fuel with Magnussen, just because I'm not convinced that's not an updated number. It might be an updated fuel number. If it's not, we should put that in the game. I'm just saying, maybe that should be an updated number. That would help us all out immensely to have that updated number. We are actually able to, in fact, screw it. Let's risk it all. Risk it all. Let's just put. In fact, we've crossed the line. Good stuff. That's worked out well. Right, we are booked in P5 now. We're okay. We can bring this car home. I'm going to turn everything down and or off, purely because any saving is a saving in terms of engine life. We're okay. We've done well. 8th place for Magnussen, 5th place for Nico Hulkenberg. We can coast this one home without any real stress or pressure on us. And yeah, looks like we've had a very, very good finish to this race. It looks like we've done absolutely everything we could have asked of ourselves. And we should be looking very strong when we go in to see Kroon and Crofty. We are, for some reason, going to get a blue flag pass done on Sonoda, I suspect, before the end of the race. Because even though he's finished, he is just, well, he's not finished. He's not going to let us pass, which, you know, fine. Whatever makes you happy, bud. You are probably getting blue flagged, but whatever. Right, let's go and get ready to hand over to Kroon and Crofty. He did let us pass on the line. What a gent. There we go. Right, we're in. Let's go and see what Kroon and Crofty have got to say for themselves, shall we?
Nico Hulkenberg's put it all together for the perfect drive today.
That really was such a strong performance, and they come away from today with a top 10 finish. Amazing, really, really good for the team.
We may see these kind of scenes a lot in Formula One, but it's easy to forget just what it means to the whole team. And onto the podium goes Sergio Perez, and he's certainly in good company there.
A third win of the season has to leave them and the team feeling confident.
And by the looks of things here in Barcelona, the party's only just beginning. Now, Karun, I'd be really keen to know, How do you think the Haas team will be reflecting on today's result?
Well, it was a bit of a mixed bag here. Some things went their way, but others didn't. I think their main target now will be finding some consistency for sure.
And with that, our time in Barcelona is done.
For the next round, the teams are travelling to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal.
Okay, so we are heading for Canada next time out. Nico Hulkenberg picks up 3 places. Magnussen drops 3 places. That's a bit of a turnaround, but you know, not the worst thing in the world. Anyone big gaining? George Russell's done very, very well today. But yeah, the points are good for us in this one. We have made some inroads. Hulkenberg now moving up to 9th in the drivers ahead of Magnussen. They're going to have a little battle to the end of the season for inter-team supremacy. But actually we've picked up points on Russell and Hamilton, so we're doing quite well there. In terms of the constructors, we are now solidly clear of 15 points clear of Alpine. We've built our gap by 7 points, and we've actually taken 6 points out of the Mercedes lead over us, so we could be in a battle for 4th. By the end of the season, I don't think we've had fastest pit stop in this race, let's be honest. I don't think we've even come close to fastest pit stop in this race. We were at our best 0.2 of a second off, and at our worst 4 whole seconds off. So that's gone very badly. Okay, the reserve driver's not done anything today, so that's absolutely fine. We can see what he has done. We can carry on trucking, and we have made 2 million in the bank for this race as well, which will be very useful because I have a feeling we are taking some engine penalties in Canada, because I don't think we've got an engine that's actually capable of getting us into a decent position in Canada otherwise. So we're going to have to make the absolute best of it. Right, we'll have a little look at the inbox, shall we? Just whilst we're doing that. Car part inspections, anything failed? We failed with a rear wing, that's fine. In terms of what's gone on in the junior series, none of our scouted drivers have had a podium this weekend, so that's fine. Dennis Hauger looking good though this season, so that is fine. Okay, right, let's just have a quick look to see before we wrap up the episode if we can get anything done with the manufacturing. I don't think we can just yet, but we're nearly there. We're nearly there. Okay, good stuff. We can get some stuff done after the underfloor is built. We've got 11 days till Canada, so we're going to be good, and hopefully we'll see some magic happening. Right, I'm going to wrap things up there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I have, as always, been Chasing the Enemy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and all that good stuff, and I shall see you all very soon. Have a good one.